Well, this is going to get me all dirty. Okay, good morning, guys. Welcome back. We've got a lot going on here today, and I don't know if all that is going on includes harvesting beans or not. We're going to have to take a look. I looked around yesterday, decided against combining beans yesterday because those second two trucks that we loaded on Saturday, well, when Phil hauled them in yesterday, they tested 16.5 and 17.4, I think, or something, which is too wet. So we waited yesterday. It was a great day. It was a nice, beautiful, sunny, drying day. We've got another one today. It's even starting to warm up a little bit. So the beans are drying. There was just too many green ones in them yesterday or on Saturday there. And we're going to have to go look this afternoon to see if they're a little drier or not. And maybe leaving them set in the trucks overnight and not hauling them in right away was part of the problem. And if we hauled them right in today, wouldn't be so bad. But we had a little trouble with our fuel pump here this morning. Capacitor was bad on it. I'll show you it sometime. It's in the shop. I'll show you the bad one, but I do have the new good one here. So I got one. We're gonna put that in so that our fuel pump works, because that's gonna be pretty important here during harvest. Phil is over there getting the drills ready. He's gonna start planting wheat. He's got the wagon. He's putting some of that seed that we treated in there. And Dad has hooked up the mower and is out mowing around the edge of that field and some of those weeds and green spots that we did go around. So as soon as I get done with this, we're probably going to go look at some fields. It's getting a little late. I'm starting this video late today. My apologies, but it's like 11:30. So anyway, we got to get this back together. So part of the problem was that the spade broke off of this wire that attaches to that capacitor. So I've got a new one here that we got to cut this old one off and put a new spade on. Well, check it out. It works. Motor capacitor cost me $16. That's the benefit of taking stuff apart and fixing it, because that's like a $700 or $800 pump. And if I can fix it that easy, great. So anyway, now that job's done. Oh, I'll show you that old motor capacitor. You can see what it looked like. You can see it was getting all rusted out. And let's see if I can pick that out of there like it was. Yeah. The top of it, the cap, basically had rusted out. I think this thing is filled with oil. It kind of balances the electrical load, something. I'm not real sure exactly. All I know is that the motor doesn't run without it. And you can see the broken off spade from the wire, why we had to replace it. But yeah, that one was no good. So fortunately I got a new one, and we got an electrical place that's 10 miles from here that had one, and that was awesome. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to talk about, based on my last video where I was combining really green beans and blending them with the dry ones, I wanted to talk about why it is okay for us to combine beans that are a little bit too green. Now, 17% average loads, that's too wet. That's more than I'm willing to push it. However, 15% is not so bad. 14.5, 14.3, like the first load we hauled in, I'll do that all day long. And here is why. So I'm going to show you a chart from the University of Nebraska that they published 10 years ago or better. It talks about combining beans at below 13% moisture and how much you are losing. So this chart here shows 13% moisture and assuming a 60 bushel per acre yield and $8.50 price. Now I'm going to use 50 bushel in my calculation because we don't have 60 bushel beans this year, but our price is closer to $10 right now. And so if you took, 13% beans, that bushel is going to weigh 60 pounds. You're not losing anything, and you're not losing any dollars per acre. Now, if you harvest 10% beans, like some of ours were getting down to, that bushel is only going to actually weigh 58 pounds, because there is 3% of basically water weight that you are missing out on being able to sell, and they are not correcting to add that back in. That works out to 2 pounds per every bushel, which in this chart would be $17 per acre. So I figured that out on ours for 50 bushel beans and $10 price. It's still $16.66 an acre in lost income because of reduced yield. Now, the flip side of that is that if we haul in 14.5% beans, or I'm going to use 14.3 because that's what that load was, the elevator is going to charge us to dry them. That drying charge was 6 cents a bushel. Okay, let's do some math. We had, call it 50 bushel beans times 0.06 cents per bushel is $3. It cost us $3 an acre to haul in 14.5 or 14.3 beans over 13%. So if you're choosing between a little bit too wet or a little bit too dry, you pick a little bit too wet every time. I would much rather do 14.5, 15% beans, pay that drying charge, lose $2 to $5 an acre, then harvest 10, 11% beans and lose $15 to $20 an acre. So hope that makes sense. If you have more questions on that, leave them in the comments. I can address it a little bit further, but the math is there. It makes sense to take them a little bit green. Now, as you haul in wetter and wetter, they charge you more and more for that drying, and the difference really levels off and evens out, and it's not worth it anymore. So especially on the early end of combine and beans, you want to start when they're a little bit wetter, because by the time they're all ready and you get towards the end of harvest, they're going to be over dry and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's kind of the reasoning on why we pushed it a little bit, and we probably will today, let's be honest. All right, well, I'm out just trying to take a look at some of the beans and see what things look like. This is kind of the low ground where they have been a little bit greener, and they're brown. There's just a few green ones in here. But these beans here are a heck of a lot browner than those beans right there were. So if this is the case, we're going. I don't know if you can hear that crunch or not, but they definitely crack. Them are good. Them are good. Problem is more so spots like that, but they're not a lot there. There's just not a lot of them. We're gonna combine beans today. Yeah, definitely still some green ones, but you see this? Look at these leaves. Those got killed by the frost that we had Saturday morning. Them plants were a lot greener on Saturday than they are now. And it takes a few days for them to dry down, and the beans especially to dry out, but they got to be better than the ones we did Saturday. I think we're going. There's Dad doing some mowing. We had some stuff like that dike right there that he got, cleaning up the edges of the fields, and those couple of spots of weeds that I went around the combine. And there's Phil planting wheat. I'll try and get some more footage of that sometime, but not right now. Okay, I'm gonna take a few minutes to get our combine ready to go. Look, our tailboard is mostly clean. That thing does a pretty good job, but we still got a bunch of piled up over here. And as somebody pointed out a couple of times, there's some holes up there, right there, that a lot of that stuff comes out. I should get some tape and cover them up. They're there for, there's two different residue disposal systems that John Deere has. Ours is kind of the standard, whatever they call it, I don't know. It's the regular one that you run for corn and beans. The guys with the variable stream rotors that are more for small grains and wheat country and stuff, there's a premium residue thing where it's got a door that will make the windrows a little bit better and stuff, and it's got that vanes that are over there to adjust how stuff comes out the back, goes all the way across, and that's what they're there for. We don't use them on our combine, so they're kind of unnecessary, and they make that mess. There, I washed the windows, so now we can see a little bit better, except for that one, but it's okay. I also am importing a new setup file. I did not have all of the fields variety locators loaded in here, so I took care of that over the weekend and pushed it to the combine, and since I'm here and started it up, I decided to get it loaded. It should not overwrite our harvest data from what we've already done, but it should pull the new setup with the variety locator for all of the fields into the display. And by variety locator, I mean the 2630 display via the software that we use, My John Deere and or Apex. It will take the maps that we made when we planted the fields and the varieties that we told the computer and the planner that we were planting at those times, load them into this monitor in the combine so that the combine knows what variety that we're harvesting, and we'll keep track of them separately. The other field, it wasn't a big deal because it was all the same variety. This field it is too, but we have other fields where they're split 50-50 or whatever. There's two different varieties in the field, and you want to be able to tell how one yielded compared to the other one. So I wanted to make sure I get that loaded. Starting to warm up here. I had to take the sweatshirt off. I unhooked this from that trailer Dad was using. We might go up and pick up some irrigation pipe. We'll need our trailer. Look at it. She's old, but she's still pretty. Alright, Dad and I are going to go pick up some irrigation pipe. I'll take this tractor up there and hook up to our pipe trailer, and he's going to bring the red truck. We are going to combine beans today, but it's not like we have 200 or 300 acres that we can do, so I don't need to start right away. I can wait a little bit. Well, there's our pipe trailer. Hasn't moved since we laid the pipe out back in June. But we did put some broken pipes on it. We're going to have to get them fixed. We'll take them back to the farm with this first load. Set them off to the side so we know. Think I can make this corner without taking out a bunch more corn? When I brought the trailer up here the first time, corn was short, we just drove over the top of it, but I don't know. Let's see how we do here. Oh yeah, that's good, not too bad. Made it. Alright, so we do need to go down to the river and turn around so that the pipe are sitting on the trailer the right direction before we start loading this up. Alright, so he's getting turned around now. Basically we've got all these piles that we made the other day or a week or two ago. We've got to pick them up and put them on the trailer. We cannot get all of the pipe on the trailer, so we'll load up a third of it or so, take it home, unload it, and then we'll bring the trailer back up to get the rest, but that ain't gonna happen today. Stacking, that's 2 piles. Catch a ride up to the next one. Alright, well, we've picked up the pipe that we had broke apart and piled. There's where it starts going to rest. Some of that's broke apart, just not piled up yet. But we should be able to get the rest of it all on the trailer. So we're going to take this stuff here back, get her unloaded, and then some other day we'll come up and keep working on it. But we're getting there. So this is kind of our little irrigation pipe storage area. We made these racks or whatever you want to call it to hold it. So we'll set all this stuff off, pile it there, and then we'll have an empty trailer to go pick up the rest of it. The rest of it will just sit on the trailer until next year. So no reason to unload it and reload it, but we're going to worry about that later. Because I got beans to combine, so we're going to get something to drink and then walk across the road. Yeah, walk across the road. We'll start combining. I'll need a truck eventually, but we'll just walk back and get one when we get the grain cart full. Well, once again, where they're dry, so that'll help blend off some of the green ones. I did look at the bushels on those 3 trucks that we hauled in from the field over there where Phil's planting wheat, and compared them to what the combine was. The combine was low, but not by that much. It was only, I think, between 60 and 70 bushels off, which isn't really too bad at all. So that field averaged right about 48 bushels to the acre, which for our earliest beans this year, I'll take that. It's not great, but it isn't terrible. And you know, they may not be I'm sure they're not our best beans. I don't know if they're towards the bottom or the middle. I don't know. But if we can average around 50 or better, I'll be happy with this year. Boy, if that's right, we are going to need some green beans. Look at that, 9.4. That's rare. Like, we don't usually see beans get under 11% even, and for them to be down to 9.5 on really the second day of harvest, that's oh man, they're gonna be real dry if that's the case. Oh well, we'll blend off as many green ones as we can and hope that we get the ratios right. It is also possible that the moisture sensor on the combine is off and there should be another point or two or whatever added back into them. It's really hard for me to calibrate it when they vary so much. If I could get into a spot where there's a good round of beans that are dry like this are all about the same, and I can reach in there and grab a sample and take them to our tester, then I can maybe calibrate it a little bit and see how close we are. But they said that first truckload that Phil hauled in tested 14.3 and the combine said like 14.4. Well, that's pretty darn close. You're not going to get any better than that, really. And that's what I've got to go on right now. So I guess I believe it. But 9.5, that's dry. Okay, I'm going to rant against John Deere. Sometimes people comment on my videos that I complain a lot. I don't feel like that's true, but I'm about to complain, so maybe it is. So we have run auto steer, John Deere auto steer, for better than 10 years now. And the last time we bought an auto track system, I think, was in 2014, which is the one that's tied to the command center on the 9R tractor. It's been quite a while since we've actually purchased a auto track activation from John Deere, because once you have them, you don't need to buy more. Well, the way that they used to do it, there's different levels of accuracy. They call it SF1, SF2. There's now an SF3 with the new receivers, and then RTK is the highest level. And we have one system that runs RTK. Everything else is SF1. SF1 is repeatable, or is accurate to like plus or minus 10 inches. RTK is plus or minus an inch, and it's repeatable year to year. Anyway, that's beside the point. Point being, about 5, 6, 7 years ago, somewhere in there, John Deere changed the way that they sold the different accuracy levels. It used to be included in the display itself, the 2630s. They then switched it so that the accuracy levels were all purchased through the GPS receivers, like the 3000 that's mounted out on top of the cab. And they changed the name. So like on this display, I have an AutoTrack SF1 activation. There's also an AutoTrack SF2 activation. And then now there's AutoTrack. It's just straight AutoTrack. So it used to be, in order to run RTK, you had to have SF1 and SF2 on locks, and then you had to have RTK on the receiver. Well, now it's all just an AutoTrack on that, and you have to pay more to upgrade the receiver. But our system is too old for that. So unless I have the right display hooked up to my RTK receiver, it won't work. So now I have an AutoTrack RTK receiver on my combine, and my display is SF1, and it won't work with the RTK. Apparently I mixed up the displays when I was putting them in the tractor and the combine. So the display in Phil's tractor is the one that needs to come in this combine, and I gotta switch them. And that's frustrating. And I asked, how can I fix this? And they said, well, you can pay $250 per display to upgrade your activation, so you don't have to do that. Oh! I already paid like $5 grand for these activations. Like, why? Why can't they just work? I guess I'm gonna go around those. I'll kind of hug the edge here. We're still really dry, averages like 12.8. So we need some green ones, but I don't need that green ones. And now that that rant's over, now we got more problems. Actual problems. Well, I thought I broke a cutter bar. I did not break a cutter bar. I broke the drive head on a cutter bar. Wowza. That bolt must have come loose. Never seen anything like it before. I think I've got one of those in the parts bin, but we're gonna have to get that apart. It's gonna mean driving back to the farm. This one should be quick though. I think that's gonna be an easy fix. Better than taking the whole cutter bar apart. Boom, right there. Perfect. Got the bolt and everything. Excellent. All right. Ooh, look. While I'm in the shop here, I got a package. You guys are going to like this one. It's red box. Ooh. What do we got? I bought a leaf blower for the combine because you guys were giving me crap about not having a leaf blower to blow off the combine. So I bought one. So this is a Milwaukee M18 fuel blower, second generation, whatever that means. Comes with an 8 amp hour battery. Big one. The biggest ones we had now are 5, so we're gonna stick that on the charger. I assume it needs charged? Yeah. But just for now, we'll stick a 5er on there and see how she do. Oh yeah. Ah, that'll work. Okay, we'll worry about that later. We got a combine to fix. So the first thing I've got to do is rotate this and get these bolts so they're out where we can get to them, and then that whole thing will slide out of there and we should be able to get it. Question's going to be whether we can pull the cutter bar out with all the grass and stuff that's stuck in the teeth, but we'll try. There. Now we just got to take these bolts off, put the new end on, put her back together. There. That's a 10-minute repair. Should be good to go. Okay, back running. This is that spot we checked this morning across the lane from where we were to see how high our moisture spikes. They're good beans. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17. Blend them off. Back down to 14, 13. They're still green. 83 bushel. Look at that. That's incredible. All right, we're gonna keep going. All right, this should get this grain cart pretty full. We'll see. But if it does, I want to load up a truck and take it into town because I want to get one in tonight. See where we're at moisture-wise and what they test at the elevator. And it is 4 o'clock. I don't know what time the local elevator is going to close. Normally it would be 5, but they do stay open later during harvest. I just don't know if there's enough people harvesting for them to have extended their hours yet or not. So if they're going to close at 5, we got to get one in before that. I think we're going to go now because this grain cart is going to be full, so we'll get a full truckload. All right, well, let's jump in a truck. It's been a while since I've driven truck. Loading. Whoa, full. Okay, I got her loaded up. I did not quite get the grain cart empty. We had more than a load in there. So we'll haul these in, see what the moisture is, and see how the weight compares to what the grain cart says, compares to what the combine says, although I didn't get it empty, so I can't really compare it to the combine. We're here. Time to untarp. I'll try and show you this as we're going around. So we pull onto the scale here, and then they will probe. Can you see that? They'll probe the truck in a couple of spots, get a sample, and they're writing down the weight. And then when they're done, they'll ring the horn, and we pull around to the dump pit. This place has grown tremendously in the last 10 years. All these bins over here are new, and yeah, pretty nice facility. Kind of drive around the circle here and then come in through the pit on the other side. Kind of hang back here until they tell me what pit to go in. Looks like it's going to be 4, which is good because it's easier to get into than 3 up there. Yep. And then we dump them into the pit about as fast as they'll come out of the truck. And we had to pull up to the second hopper there, and they'll dump that one. And then we go out through the outbound scale. Now it's empty. Away we go. The nice thing here is that it's easy in, easy out, it's quick, as long as there's not a huge line, which most of the time there's not. I asked them how busy they were. They said they've taken in between 10 and 15,000 today, which, 10 to 15 truckload, well, maybe no more than 20 truckloads. That's not that many, so they can get them through pretty easy. It means there's not a lot of guys running yet, but there are a few. Now the question is, what's the moisture? So we pull up here on our outbound scale, and we'll stop by their computer, and then our ticket will get printed right here, and all we got to do is grab it. There's our tare weight, 26,720. There it is. Moisture, 12.6. Oh, awesome. We had 964 bushels at 12.67 moisture. Now that's good. Away we go. Back to the farm. We're going to keep combining. Okay, back in the combine here. We're going to make a few rounds and finish this field up. We've got about 14 acres left is all it says, so it won't take too much. But we should get about another truckload out of it, I would think. Well, I almost got the window clean. A little streaks when the sun goes down. Anyway, last pass here, finishing up this field. Still got a few green ones, but apparently we need them. Keep that moisture up. So we're going to finish this, put the beans in the grain cart down there, and then we're going to take the combine back across the road and drop the head over there. Well, the grain cart's not clear full, but probably going to be close enough that we'll have close enough to a load at least to take it in the morning. So, all right, let's get back over to our header cart, which is in our driveway. Okay, I got the head unhooked. I also we got the grain cart unloaded and back here. Phil pulled the truck around to the pit there. I was having trouble. I couldn't get my grain tank covers to close, but I walked away from it and helped with that grain cart, came back and pushed the button and they closed. So I don't know if we got an issue there or not, but it's working at the moment. So I'm gonna let this file export and get ready or get out so that my yield map is on my John Deere. We're gonna strap the head down and then probably just button some stuff up for the night. It's I don't know, not quite 6:37, something like that. And if we were really rolling, I'd go to the next field, but we're not, so we'll have a big day tomorrow, and yeah, we'll call it good enough for today. We didn't really do that much, like 37 acres, but it's all right, something. Dad did get the disc hooked up. We've got some gullies and stuff in the back of that field we just finished from that big rain we had back in May that we've got to work down before we can plant wheat there. And Phil finished planting wheat in this field, so he's getting the drills ready to go in that field we just finished. Should we take our fancy new leaf blower out here and blow off the head, see how well it works in combine? We're not in the field, so it's not ideal, but we're just trying it. Well, this is going to get me all dirty. Ain't new anymore. Cool. Went around the combine real quick. Got the top of the feeder house there where a lot of it was. I'm not going to worry about all that. I don't want it all in the grass, really. Although most of that'll chew up the lawnmower pretty good. So, be handy. Cool little deal. I think it'll blow the rocks off my concrete here. Oh, yeah. Nice. This thing's going to be handy. I almost forgot. I need to switch those 2630s so that my RTK works tomorrow. So I'm going to go and do that real quick. I did get that data exported off of this one, so that's good. There, different display. Just like the old display, except for the screen protectors peeling off in this bottom corner. All right, well, I made sure to transfer all of the data off of that display before I start with it, which really shouldn't be much, just this one field of wheat that Phil planted, so, but I don't want to lose that planting map. I do need to push my setup file to that again, and since I got the wireless data transfer, I can do that from the computer, so I'm going to go do that. But that is going to be it for tonight. Phil is disking down the little bit of stuff that needs to be done in that field, and he'll get that planted tomorrow. We have got 2 more fields that I know, I'm pretty sure, we'll be able to combine tomorrow, so we're going to go and do those, and then we'll have to look around and see what else is available or ready, and then what else? Oh yeah, we can pick up a little bit more irrigation pipe, maybe go work on that some more. So there's plenty to do still, and harvest is pretty much in full swing now. We're gonna keep moving. Beans will keep ripening up, especially as nice as the weather is right now with it being 70 degrees and sunny. So with that, have a good night. If you have any questions and comments, leave them down below. Hit that like and subscribe buttons for me, would you please? And we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, I did see that Brian's Farming Videos did a really awesome tour of his grain bin system. And a lot of you shouted out my video where I made my wet bin indicator light system. So thank you for that, Sharon. But that's something that I need to do. So at some point here, maybe a rainy day or a slow day or whatever, we're going to do a grain bin tour out here, and you guys can see how our setup works. So have a good night. See you guys.